In addition to writing 8 nature books over the course of my career, I have led hundreds of nature outings, all kinds of outings, mostly plant identification walks where I take people either to the Capitol grounds to see the trees or to Sugarloaf Mountain to see the mountain laurel and the flowers there, or to Rock Creek Park. So most of my outings are, that type of walk. I also lead kayak trips. I did a triathlon a few years ago with a biking component, a paddling component, and a walking component. So I do all kinds of nature trips. And I was leading a nature walk in Rock Creek Park, and one of my field studies students, because I've also taught a lot of plant identification courses, one of my field studies students came up to me with this article from Oprah's magazine about this thing called forest bathing. And it had started in Japan. The forestry agency there coined this term in the 1980s just to describe the experience of going out in nature and fully immersing yourself in the beauty and wonder around you. And Oprah wrote this article about it and how it was taking off in North America, especially in California. So when I heard that phrase, people react to it differently. Some people hear it and they think, oh, is that something kinky? Or, they just don't get it. I got it right away. When I heard that phrase, forest bathing, I knew what it meant. And I had to experience it. So I got on a plane to California. I flew to San Francisco to go on a forest bathing walk. And my first walk was with Amos Clifford, who is the founder of the Association of Nature and Forest Therapy Guides and Programs. And this organization has trained forest bathing guides all over the world. I think they've trained over 3,000 guides at this point. And I went on this walk in Sonoma County. I loved it. I got into the training program. I became a certified forest bathing guide. I was the first one certified in Washington in 2016. We now have over 40 working forest bathing guides in Washington. So that just kind of shows you how this took off. It was kind of like the next wave, following meditation and yoga and Tai Chi and, all these mindfulness practices coming out of Asia. This was kind of the next thing. And what happens on a forest bathing walk is you're noticing everything around you, but you're doing it not so much to name the plants and learn details about them. It's more like a spiritual immersion, spiritual and sensory immersion in the beauty and wonder that you're experiencing. And it's really a powerful thing. And in Japan, it's become so popular, they now have over 60 forests throughout the country that are dedicated to it. I spent 3 weeks in Japan in 2017 on a forest bathing trip throughout the country. So I've been on walks with the guides in Japan. And it's just a very restorative practice. I've just returned from Aspen, Colorado, where I led 6 forest bathing walks for the Aspen Institute and the Aspen Center for Environmental Studies. I've been doing that for a few years. And, people now, we're living in really difficult times. Wherever you are in the political spectrum, it's a very stressful time for people. And one of the best ways to deal with stress and anxiety is to simply spend time in nature. And there's all kinds of data to prove that this is good for you. There are these 2 Japanese researchers, Dr. Lee at Nippon Medical School and Dr. Miyazaki at Chiba University, and I visited his lab when I was in Japan. They've studied the mental and physical health benefits of spending time in nature, and they're really profound. It can lower your blood pressure, it can lower your cortisol levels, slow your pulse. One of the things Dr. Lee has discovered is that it can actually boost your immunity, give your whole immune system a boost. Those are the physical benefits. And then the mental health benefits, I mean, you must know this from when you go to stay with your parents and you walk on West Terrace Road, don't you feel a whole lot calmer? um, you know, for people who spend time in nature, the mental health benefits are kind of obvious. You know, the uh, decreased anxiety, you know, a feeling of calmness, better sleep. They're pretty obvious, but it's really great that researchers, not just in Japan, but all over the world and, you know, big time here in North America, have been studying the health benefits of spending time in nature and finding incredible results. I mean, the results just show up over and over again. I lead forest bathing walks. So, you know, like in the fall, I will lead one for Politics and Prose bookstore here in Washington, our premier independent bookstore. And I just led these walks in Colorado. So I lead forest bathing walks, but I also, when I'm leading my more traditional nature walks, I will kind of weave some forest bathing into it so that we'll have some quiet time, you know, because it's really powerful to just stop talking when you're out in nature and just listen to the birds and really pay attention to the way the wind is moving through the trees and just soak it all up. So that whole experience of going to Japan and being trained as a guide has had a profound effect on me. And 3 of my books are focused on forest bathing. The book Wild Walking, A Guide to Forest Bathing Through the Seasons, it's really a new edition of my previous book, The Joy of Forest Bathing. It has different artwork and, you know, it's been updated. What it is it's a guide to help people forest bathe on your own. You don't have to go out with a guide. This is something anybody can do. And it's something that a lot of people just do. They don't call it forest bathing, but anybody who spends solo time in nature or who spends time with other people who are really tuned into it so that you're all, you know, like in harmony with the natural happenings around you. This book is a guide that helps you, you know, kind of walks you through the elements of a forest bathing walk. So when you start out on a forest bathing walk, the first thing you want to do is to unplug. So I tell people, think of the airplane mode on your phone as forest bathing mode, and put your phone in forest bathing mode. You want to release yourself from your to-do list, from the news of the day, from everything that might be nagging at you, so that you can be fully present. And then what you do on a forest bathing walk is, first of all, you slow down. You breathe deeply, and you know, you're either still or you're walking slowly so that you can really absorb through your senses everything going on around you. And as forest bathing guides, we give people a series of invitations, and I talk about this in the book because you can do this yourself. So one of my favorite forest bathing invitations is notice what's in motion. It sounds like such a simple thing, but it's a powerful mindfulness exercise. Because when you know, stop thinking and, you know, stop your chattering brain and just notice the way the wind is moving the leaves and, you know, maybe there's an ant crawling on the ground, whatever's happening around you, it helps you to be fully present and it helps you to see things that otherwise you wouldn't see. And then I will invite people to do this trick that I learned from a guide up in the Japanese Alps. This is a hearing sense invitation. So what you do is you stand, if you pretend what's behind me is flowing water, you stand with flowing water behind you, you cup your ears in the front and you close your eyes, and it magnifies the sound. It just, like, the sound of that flowing water fills your soul. I did this in Aspen with people with the Roaring Fork River in the background, and they were just amazed by it. And then, you know, you want to, smells are really, you know, evocative. They can bring back all kinds of memories, and, you know, you want to, like, really tune into the flowers and the leaves and the smell of the earth. And all those things that you inhale are good for you. You know, the plants emit these things called phytoncides that protect them from pathogens. And Dr. Lee has discovered that when we inhale them, it gives our immune systems a boost. So you want to, like, do a lot of breathing, and touch too. You know, I love to do an invitation where I have people hold stones, you know, small stones, and and then we'll, you know, really get to know that stone, and then share the stones in a circle. I keep a lot of touch things right around my laptop when I'm writing. For instance, this is a buckeye seed from the Capitol grounds. It's from a yellow buckeye on the Capitol grounds. And people in Appalachia keep these in their pockets for good luck. I keep this in my pocket for good luck, but I also keep it next to my laptop so that I can have something in nature to touch, you know, when I'm with my screen. So, you know, touch is really important. So on a forest bathing walk, either your own self-guided one, or, you know, if you go out with a guide, we'll go through these. And I also like to give like fanciful invitations, like imagine you're a child, which is really fun. And then at the close, you kind of want to close your walk. And what we do on a guided walk is we'll have tea. We'll serve tea, either wild crafted. I usually serve pure maple sap, and we'll serve a snack, and you know, read some poetry, share what we have experienced, and that's very grounding, and it kind of helps you go back to your daily life. Because what I find is people usually don't want to go back. You know, even if they've been out for 3 hours, they feel so calm and so restored. They don't want to lose that feeling. So it's really important to, you know, like kind of transition back. And then in my
Wonderful.
book, I talk about how you can weave all kinds of other mindfulness practices into your time in nature. Yoga in Japan, they have incredible infrastructure for forest bathing, and that includes yoga platforms deep in the woods. They integrate yoga into their walks. Tai Chi is great to do outdoors, meditation, anything that you love to do, you can take it outdoors, and then you get the extra benefit of being in nature.